Yep. So Mom and Dad were the ones that began
the
the winery and vineyard. Carolyn and Carl, and she does. So she still actually probably works like say like three to 4 days a week, and she helps in the tasting room and things like that. And Dad he is never going to retire. He is here 7 days a week, and he's just a farmer. He was a traditional farmer, and then
farmers don't retire.
Nope, and that's fine. Whatever makes him happy. He works so hard. It's amazing what he's done. And
everything's been evolutionary. It's not like when I was a teenager, I had a vision that this is what we wanted to do in the future. Everything just happened. I like to say the fates have drug us in strange ways. How's that?
What were you doing before you started growing grapes?
Farming. We had pigs. But we always been looking for I call them stupid things to do. Because at that time, ag was kind of dying, or it was not. It was changing, so that it seemed self-evident.
Yeah, we had tried other stuff. We actually planted Christmas trees one time.
Wow.
That kind of all fell apart. I made fish ponds one time. We were going to raise fish, and that kind of fell apart. And I remember when we did these grapes, I got to thinking, well,
another
this is
wild
going to be
goose
another
chase.
wild goose
Yes,
chase.
yes.
And it started out, we planted the church bottom down here. I think that was the first one.
Okay.
And of course, we were farming at the time. And it got to the point, it went a year or two, and the weeds were growing up. And I thought, well, this was another one of them wild goose chase. And then all of a sudden, he went to a meeting somewhere and said, I think we're going to grow grapes. So then we got it all cleaned up and dug all the grapevines out. And it just grew from there.
But there was an article in used to be a magazine, the Pennsylvania Farmer. A fellow named Phil Roth from Fairfield had an article in about he grew grapes for Chad's Ford Winery. And there was one quote in there that said, he can grow his best grapes on poorer land because the grapes struggle and develop more flavor. And that's sort of, we're in Snyder County. We're not in Union County. We don't have the greatest fertility. Well, if that's so, this would be a good place to grow grapes. We started from scratch, not knowing what we were doing. Pieced together, a lot of, old milk tanks, and actually we started with an old cider press in the first year or two is what we used. One of the old wooden barrel cider with a screw on the top. Actually half of it lays out here yet, it's still.
with our particular vineyard, what we do is it never stops. The maintenance in the vineyard never stops. So right now we are in harvest season. We started harvesting at the end of August, which was a little early this year, and that's just based on because it's been so warm and things have ripened. So we started harvesting at the end of August, and then we will harvest all the way through October. So somebody will drive the tractor with the wagon, and then two people will follow behind the wagon and pick them up and put the lugs in the
because they're
the wagon.
putting them in the lugs are left there.
Yes. Yep.
And then they drive up.
Yeah. So the people just keep what they do is they just go down the row and they pick. So they leave the lug there. So the lugs are sitting there, and then when it's all finished, when the row's finished, that's when we bring our tractor and our wagon, go through and just pick up the lugs. Some years we go into November. I think this year we should be, as long as the weather cooperates and whatnot, it'll be through October. So it's quite a bit of time.
What time does the day start?
So people usually get here between 7 and 7:30. There's these two girls, they're sisters, Teresa and Leona, and they will come. They're Mennonites and they have their own farm too, but they will come like at 5 in the morning or whatever, and they'll pick here, and then they may leave a little early and go deal with their own farm. So they're such hard workers, and they love it. These people have been working for us forever, so they're like, man, it's great.
So the day begins usually between 7 and 7:30, ends at what time?
Usually 5:30. 5:30. Except for my dad. My dad is here earlier, and with pressing and things like that, he leaves, and sometimes he has to spray too at the end of the day. He never leaves before like 7:30. And then once the vineyard is empty, once we've harvested everything, we wait for the vines to go dormant, and then so they're asleep, and what we'll do is start pruning, and we usually start pruning in December when we know everything is asleep, it's cold enough, and so we cut back the vines. Every single vine out there gets cut back to just 2 cordons, and all the other growth will be trimmed off. It's very laborious, and we have to do it when the vines are asleep so that we don't damage them or hurt them at all. And that's what we do during the winter months. And we have the same wonderful people that are pickers. They also do the maintenance in the vineyard too. And
we were born and raised here, and you're often like, what brings someone to Snyder County? And I think it is so cool to hear everyone's story, and that's what I think keeps it fresh too. And like, what did you find in this area that's so intriguing besides the winery? Or did you come for the winery, or are you coming because of other things and then happened upon the winery? And I actually feel like in the past year or two, we had so many people coming from New York, New Jersey. They're staying in Beavertown, Beaver Springs, and I'm like, how did you find us? And it's so cool to like hear their stories, and I just love it.
What brings them here? What are you hearing?
They want to get away and find literally peace and quiet and relaxation. And I guess they have a bunch of things they plug into Airbnb, and for somehow they land here. And I think it's so cool because, again, like I think we take for granted this area that we have. And when you hear that, I'm like, you know what? I am really lucky to live here. We're lucky to have a business here. I'm lucky to be raising kids here. It's a pretty cool place. So I think that's what really keeps it fresh. And then I get to help them learn the story of our winery and sell them some wine too.